It is not easy to answer. Sociologically, we haven't measured properly recently what are the feelings of Ukrainians in current situation. But I would talk today of two groups of people. First one are those who are more secure economically, more fulfilled. They know where they're heading, they have their place in society, they feel potential, agency of change. Those are successful people who answer a question, what can I do right now? And if the answer is nothing, but keep doing what you can and what you already do, they feel better. But there is another part of community, and those are vulnerable people. And I would say that those are representatives of a big international trend. They are part of people who are full of anxieties, of unanswered needs, maybe lower economic security. They watch news much more and they fear much more, and their anxiety grows and grows and grows, and they are coping much worse. And to add also that the media nowadays is not doing their best by adding to the anxieties and insecurities. So the real question would be not if Ukrainians are assessing the threat well, but how a threat like this one should be assessed in the modern world, full of information overload, of news logic which capitalizes on bad news and panic. And this is a question to all of us. How a threat like this should be measured in the modern world? By number of weapons or shelling? Or should we also count news which bring negative information to our homes and play on anxieties and panic? It is very difficult to talk about ruling elite, since we know that there are many variables that influence confidence and trust in government and authorities. But speaking about the Ukrainian state, I would say that the trend is quite reverse. There has never been a time and a space where Ukraine could define itself more, and the Russian threat at a really high price puts a pressure on Ukraine to get together, become cohesive, define its goals, define itself. And there is this stance that the war wins the one who protects the values. And I think this is the strongest sense and the strongest mantra for Ukraine, which helps us move through. The bigger challenge for me and question is not to cut down Russian aggression only to the problem of Ukraine, because in the 21st century we see that peace-building practices do not actually work. We fail. We have a neighbor and a country like Russia who ignores all international agreements and peace-building procedures, and having a country like that who repeatedly proved themselves not sticking to what they agreed to is a threat to everybody internationally, and not only to Ukraine. So the question would rather be what international community should and can do to make sure that we have countries all loyal to democratic practices of governing. I would say that there are a couple of ways how each and everyone can contribute to strengthening resilience of Ukraine. First of all, it's a human-centered approach. We should stop thinking of politics and use more human language. Start thinking of each individual. First of all, Ukraine and Ukrainian stakeholders have to keep going and defining who Ukraine is. If we take Russia or European Union or any other international union from the picture, where we are heading, what we are standing for. So if every citizen could answer these questions in difficult times, in easy times, and in happy times. This is first one. So building a cohesive strategy of who we are, what we want to say to the world, and what we already are giving to the world. Second is try to think of Ukraine as of a place where each individual has to find their own fulfillment, happiness, and make sure that all institutions work towards helping every single citizen from east to west becoming at their best, taking the job they like, earning enough money for their living. Those are very simple things, but so much necessary, because we see that this is the source of resilience and stability in times of threat, but also this is the source of thriving in times when the threat is over. Second one is media. I think that the Ukraine and also the world, we need to reform media and to try to think how we reach every individual with news, not in the form of news. Newsmakers should stop to be arrogant, or we all should stop to be arrogant and think that a citizen will go and reach necessary information. So I'm talking about civic education, new forms of communicating, viewing media more as a service to people nowadays is really, really crucial. And also culture, using culture as your space to talk, to narrate itself, to give something to the world. Ukraine has a lot of successes culturally and businesses, and this is our strength. We should keep on talking about this as well. So the communication, the wider it is, not about war, the better it is for us and for Ukraine. Also speaking about international communities, international stakeholders working now in Ukraine, what can be done is stop looking at Ukraine only through prism of the war. If you want to help, I know the Romanian organizations working in the East, helping and investing in those structures. But if you want to make Ukraine resilient and cohesive, what should be done is taking the whole country on board and asking everyone from east to west not to split the country further. So over-investing and over-dealing with vulnerable regions, which are east and other parts of the country, when you are coming to the country and you're wanting to help, try to look broader at the whole country.